Beloved, we gather today not because history is repeating itself, but because history is recognizing itself. What we are witnessing in Minnesota right now, this ICE occupation, these raids, this fear moving through neighborhoods is not new. It is familiar. It has genealogy. And if the church knows anything, it knows how to trace spirits across generations. In 1793, the United States passed the Fugitive Slave Act, the law that gave the federal government and the states the authority to hunt human beings. Enslaved Africans who dared to run toward freedom could be seized without trial, without testimony, without mercy, and dragged back into bondage. States were legally required to cooperate. Sheriffs, judges, militias, and deputized citizens became tools of capture. Does this sound familiar? The law did not ask who the person was. It did not ask why they fled. It did not ask what violence they were escaping. The only question was, who claims ownership? Today, ICE operates with that same spirit of capture. Families are torn apart. People are detained without due process. Children watch parents disappear. Communities live under surveillance, and the law, once again, wraps injustice in paperwork and calls in order. Black liberation theology teaches us that God is revealed in the struggle of the oppressed, not in the comfort of the powerful. James Cone reminds us that neutrality in the face of oppression is not innocence, it's alignment with the oppressor. And this is where the church must hear a hard word. The church cannot afford to stand back and be idle, because the church has stood back before. Some churches quoted Romans chapter 13 to defend slavery. Some churches complied with the Fugitive Slave Act. Some churches locked their doors when human beings were being hunted outside. But there were also other churches, where the black churches hid freedom seekers, where the abolitionist churches that broke the law to honor God. There were sanctuaries who chose risk over respectability. Those churches understood something vital, that when the law contradicts love, obedience to God requires disobedience to unjust systems. Today, the question is not, is ICE legal? The question is ICE just? And the answer is no. The silence becomes sin. This moment also demands something else: solidarity. Black and brown communities must stand together, not because our stories are identical, but because our oppression is interconnected. The same system that once branded black bodies as property now criminalizes brown bodies as disposable. Different labels, same logic. And when they come from immigrants, they rehearse coming for everybody else. We've seen this movie before, and we know how it ends. When they normalize cages, they normalize cruelty. When they militarize borders, they militarize neighborhoods. We are not just competitors for justice, but we are co-laborers in liberation. And Jesus tells us exactly who we are in moments like this. You are the salt of the earth. Salt preserves what is good. Salt gives flavor to what is bland. Salt stings wounds only because it heals them. In United Christian Church, I need you to hear this. Salt melts ice. Salt doesn't argue with ice. Salt doesn't negotiate with ice. Salt doesn't ask ice for permission. Salt simply shows up, and ice cannot survive. And when the church shows up with courage, fear melts. When communities show up together, injustice melts. And when love confronts cruelty, systems of death cannot stand. So let us be salty enough to disrupt ratings, salty enough to protect families, salty enough to tell the truth even when it costs us something. Because if the church loses its saltiness, Jesus says it's good for nothing. And beloved, we are not called to be nothing. We are called to melt ice. And that is my Bible.